Hello, it's Burgess Taylor. Today, I thought I'd do a coffee chat. Haven't done one in a while. This schedule for my YouTube videos has not exactly been held so far for this year. I know we're on day 9 here because it's Saturday morning. And I thought I'd do a coffee chat, coffee time video. And I talk about what I did to help me get the love and the fun and the joy back into my writing. And I talk a little bit about vlogging, making videos, a few other things, just random ideas that have come up over the past few weeks. And I thought I'd give a high five or a hello, hi, a hey y'all to my subscribers. Say thank you for your comments and for subscribing to my channel. As some of you know who've been watching my videos, I had a meltdown at the beginning of the year, like the second day of January. The anxiety and the stress and a lot of things kind of just built up. And when I finally had a day to write and I had a day to actually create a video and had some time, I panicked. My anxiety got the better of me, my self-doubt, a lot of things. So instead of making the video that I intended to, about what not to do as a writer or what to do kind of thing, different things, I ended up ranting a bit. And then I did an introduction video because I ended up feeling better after the rant and then after talking to Mr. Rockstar, and he'd also had a bad day. And things got better because we talked them out, and over the past week and a half I've actually spent some good quality time with my grandson and my daughter and my husband and my son, and we did some s'mores and we had a really good time doing that. My grandson had a blast. He did a little jig. I'm going to try to edit the video. I ended up taking the video with my phone, and there's a lot, and so I have to put it on my computer, and then I'm going to have to edit it, but I'm going to try to get some clips of that because it was absolutely adorable. I've been reading a lot more so far this year already than I did last year. I've also been, I upgraded most of my Goodreads stuff. There's still a lot of stuff that I need to do. Reading is a really good way to put me in a happy place, to inspire me, to remind me of why I wanted to write to begin with. I love reading a good story. I also like telling a good story. I'm a storyteller at heart as much as I am a reader at heart. There's nothing about a story that I don't like. Putting the love and the fun and the excitement back into my writing has consisted of being less anxious, less unhappy about my writing, remembering that the first draft is simply a first draft. All the first draft for is really to put your ideas on the page, to get story out there, to flesh out your characters. So like I said before I was interrupted, my husband was calling to check on me. I didn't feel very good yesterday, and he had to go to work this morning, and he was just calling to check on me. Now, your first draft, when you're writing, at least for me, when you're writing that first draft, it's chaotic. It's hard. There are days when you don't feel like writing. There are days when you don't know what to write. There are days when the writing just doesn't feel like it's going to happen, and you have to push yourself to write. And lately, I've realized that I'm not going to get it written if I don't write. And I have to just buckle down and write. It's not going to be easy. It's just not going to be easy every day. Some days are better than others. I find myself sometimes distracted or bored, and then I have to find something to inspire myself, or I have to change things up. And although there is not a writers group nearby where I live, there is a great online community of writers, and I am part of a really great group of writers in the Write Stuff community. Tamara Woods hosts the Write Stuff tweet chat on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And most of the time, I participate. There are times when I fall asleep. There are times when I forget what day it is. There are times when I miss them. But for the most part, I am a participant in them and I love it. On the rare occasion when I miss it, usually it's my own fault because, like I said, I've fallen asleep or I got distracted and busy or my grandson is over and there isn't any right stuff, anything going on when my grandson. I have to change things up. Sometimes I change my location, sometimes I do other things, but reading has been a really good inspiration for me lately. Another thing that I think I've kind of been doing lately is not worrying about it so much. I mean, on the days when I get writing done, great. The other day, I think it was the day before yesterday, I changed my opening line. I really needed to start somewhere else. In my story, I was starting too far behind. I needed to start where the action was. My prologue is, I love my prologue, but my first chapter, actually my first 4 chapters, where I get to, I think it's chapter 3 or chapter 4, that's where I actually needed to start, not where I had started. So I'm in the process of redoing that. But I'm going to start with the actual funeral scene. I talked about the funeral scene when I was outlining my novel. Instead of doing the scene where she's arguing with her boss, instead of doing the scene where she catches Dara and the friend in the house and she's wondering if maybe they're planning something, she doesn't really think about the fact that they could be cheating. She knows something is wrong, that all of that is just a backstory. It's not important. It's not action. It's not relevant to right now. I can add those bits and pieces in where she's talking to her family after the funeral is over, and I can add those in where she explains what's going on in her life. And I don't need to talk about them in the very beginning of the book, not in the very first chapter. I actually need to open with the funeral scene. So that's what I've decided to do, is to change things up. And I'm going to rewrite chapter 1 and I'm going to go from there, because that means that the first like 3, maybe 4 chapters are kind of going to end up in bits and pieces throughout the novel. They're not going to be the first 3 chapters of the novel. And I think that will really help the flow of the novel. It will mean putting me back, because my word count will be a lot less without the first 3 chapters of the novel. But I think it's really important that I do this. I've been like, it's been pounding in my head, screaming at me that it wasn't working, it wasn't working, it wasn't working. I thought, well, I don't need to edit. I shouldn't be editing right now. But if I change that, then it'll work a lot better and the flow of the novel will be a lot better, because where the action is and where her character arc goes will actually flow now. It will actually work the way it's supposed to work. Even though when I planned out the novel, I had those things planned, when I'm writing versus what I planned, I wasn't writing parts like the big core parts of the novel I wanted to write. I was writing more backstory in those first few chapters. Another thing I think that's really important is that you write your story for you, is that you don't worry about what someone else thinks is relevant, or what's working, what is making the New York Times bestseller list, or anything like that. I think if you have a story to tell, then you should try telling it. And I wouldn't worry about whether that's popular right this minute or not, because by the time you get your book finished, it may not matter. I mean, it fluctuates. And when Anne Rice first started writing her books about the vampires, about Lestat and stuff, I don't think that kind of stuff is very popular at that point in time. Stephen King, I mean, people are labeling his books as horror, but the Dark Tower series is more fantasy. To me, there are certain types of writing that I really enjoy more, but I don't stick to one genre. My daughter and I were talking about books this morning, and Nora Roberts has come out with a new book, a new series. My daughter was telling me, she's like, I read the first one, Mom, and then I realized that she hadn't come out with the next one yet. And I knew exactly what she's talking about, but I hadn't read the first one. Obsession is on pre-order list, and that's, I think, the second book in the series my daughter's talking about. And we both love Nora Roberts. And we were talking about Patrick Rothfuss and how he was supposed to have come out with a book, the 3rd book in the Name of the Wind series, whatever, I can't think of, the King, whatever that series is called. But He didn't come out with it last year, so I guess it's this year. Maybe. Hopefully. There are a lot of disappointed fans out there because we really want his book, and it's been how long? And I understand, from a writer's point of view, a book or 2 or 3 a year versus a book every 4 or 5 years. Some people, my daughter said, Mom, I understand. There are some artists who can put out 4 or 5 or 10 pieces in a year, and there are some artists that it takes a whole year to do one piece. And that's very true. It's very true. You can't, I mean, I don't think you can really judge people in the creative way versus, like, you can't compare, because what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. And you should remember that with your writing too. Comparing yourself to another writer is almost a bit asinine, because you're different, everybody's different. What works for you may not work for someone else. And sometimes maybe we're jealous of other writers if they write more than we can, or if they're doing better than we can, or but everybody's process is different. And don't compare yourself to someone else. Compare yourself to you. How much have you learned over the past year, over the past 3 years, over the past week? What have you done? What have you accomplished? Are you meeting your goals? Are you working more on your story? Are you working less on your story? Does your story make more sense? Have your characters evolved? Has your writing evolved? Have you gotten better as a writer? And I think that's one of the things that these videos have really helped me do, is I've become a better writer. And maybe I struggled for the first few years to find my process and to find my voice and to find what works for me. And maybe those first couple of novels, or the first 3 or 4 novels, I got halfway to 3/4 of the way through and didn't finish, and they're in a file. They're a trunk novel that's not finished. But that's okay, because I can go back to them. What I have learned, however, is that every process for me has helped my overall process. It's helped me become a better writer. It's helped me become more social. It's helped me get past some of my anxieties. It's helped me learn. It's helped me become stronger and better. And that's what's really important. And I realized early this morning, when I checked, it took 2 days to upload my art journaling process video. I worked really hard. It took me an hour and a half to do the video. It took me 3 hours to get everything set up and to figure out what I wanted to do. It took me a whole day to edit the video, and then it took 2 days to upload it. And then this morning, when I checked, I had a like and 2 dislikes, 2 thumbs down. And I'm like, what in the hell? It wasn't professional. I had to speed through a little bit of the process, which made it a little noisy, because otherwise the video would have been 2 hours long or an hour and a half long. And I didn't want to do that. It would have taken me 3 days to upload it. And I had a subscriber, or 4, request that kind of video. And I had one up here, but on my channel list, but it's from last year. I thought, well, I have to do this anyway. Let's go ahead and get it done and get it over with. And I'm not buying a new tripod. I can jiggle with some stuff and maybe figure out if I can get a better way to do that. But to be honest, the only way that I can do it is to pull out these things on my desk. They're actually writer boards. They're wood pieces. They pull out on each side of the desk for you to write on. Pull one out, set up my tripod right over it, turn the book upside down, so I'm drawing upside down, or painting upside down. That's the only way that I can do it. Or if I sit, yeah, that's the only way I can do it, because otherwise I'm filming upside down and I don't have enough editing skills to turn it all the way around. Or I could take pictures of each part of my process and do the video kind of like a slideshow and do like a narration of my process, which may be what I do next time, is take pictures of the process. I don't know. But I will try to figure out a better way. But if you're going to put a thumbs down on a video, then tell me why. I mean, how about have some constructive criticism? Have the balls, if you're going to hit the dislike button, to tell me why the hell you don't like the video, so that I can improve it. Because if you only dislike it and you don't tell me why, I have no way of knowing what I need to improve. And that's that. And that really just, it disappointed me, upset me. You had no idea how much that hurt my feelings. I spent all this time trying to do this video. And like I said in the video, I am not a professional. I art journal because I enjoy it, because I love it, because it's fun, because it relaxes me. It puts me in a good place. And then after I art journal, I can write. Or after I art journal, I feel a lot better. I don't feel so anxious. I feel good about myself. And I love it. I've missed it. I wasn't doing it on a regular basis because I was so busy writing. And I realized that part of the reason why I kept getting like, anxious and overwhelmed and stuff was because I wasn't doing enough of my creative stuff that helps my anxiety. And I'm not just a writer. I'm a journaler. I'm a reader. I like taking pictures. I finally got some more film for my little Intax camera. I could start putting more little pictures in my journal, so I'm really excited about that. And overall, I think it's just really important to be yourself. That's my coffee chat because I'm going to start rambling soon. I am currently on Club Dead in the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlene Harris. I love the color of this book, and I am loving these books. I'm really loving these books. The show, I think I like the books a lot better. So that's it for now. Oh, and I realized, going to correct my mistake, I realized that City of Lost Souls is not the last book. City of Heavenly Fire. So, oh my God. I didn't even realize there was another book. I've been so caught up in everything else in the Dresden Files and the Odd Thomas series that I didn't even realize there was another book. So now, yeah, I'm going to have to go look for that book as soon as I can spend a little bit of money. I've got some other books I'm going to read first, and then I'll try to find that one because I also have like I said, I have the first 2 books in the Infernal Devices. I want to read those, but I don't want to start those until I finish the Mortal Instruments. I'm so behind. So behind. But it doesn't matter. If you have any suggestions about books that you really enjoyed, it doesn't have to be brand new releases because I go to thrift stores, I go to thrift books, I go to the bookstore, I go to Barnes & Noble, I go to Books A Million. I buy books from all different kinds of places. But if you have a series that you thought was like awesome and amazing, let me know. And I'll try to check it out over this year. Like I said, I want to go outside of my comfort zone and read a lot of different kinds of books and read a lot of different genres. I am going to reread Chronicles of Narnia. I'm going to reread Clockwork Orange year. I really want to get men's poetry and prose. Right now, though, like I said, I'm reading this series and Odd Thomas, and oh, and I've got to finish the Talisman. I'm like 3/4 of the way through the damn book. It's such a big book, y'all. It's such a big book. Almost as big as The Stand. I need to read Mr. Mercedes and the Finders Keepers, and I need to read Revival. There's so many books on my right now to be read right now list that is just ridiculous. So I hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to finish my coffee and I'm going to read until the end of this chapter, and then I'm going to go back to writing because my goal is to write 2,000 words today, and then I have to clean up the kitchen. Thanks for watching. Bye.